What's good, Gacha gang? Kawaii50 here with another FGO video, and we're skipping the intro because there's way too much to cover. Let's get right into it. So I'm sure you saw the title and the thumbnail. We are here to talk about Musashi's update to her noble Phantasm, and how this actually is going to pertain to some huge things that are going to happen in FGO's Cosmos and the Lost Belt story. Nasu has already said we need more than Lost Belt 6 and 7 to tell the whole story of Cosmos and the Lost Belt, and I think that Musashi's Noble Phantasm is hinting at a lot of future encounters and future antagonists that we are going to have to face. So let's start with discussing Musashi's Noble Phantasm Upgrade, the main text that is leading us to this conclusion, and is the fact that Musashi's NP Upgrade deals extra damage to both Alter Ego and Moon Cancer class enemies. Now, as far as the Alter Ego class bonus goes, well, that's pretty much a no-brainer. It is known far and wide that the alien god B7, you Olga Marie, whatever you want to call her, has Alter Ego servants in her employ that we are going to have to fight. If you think Musashi is gone after Olympus, you are crazy, 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 crazy. She is definitely going to appear again. Data lost is just a red herring. Now, as for those Alter Egos, of course, we have Ashia Doman, who Musashi still has a grudge against back from the Shimosa days. Of course, we're going to be fighting him. A lot of people speculate that black dot on JP's main screen is Ashia Doman's hell, so expect Musashi to have a battle with him. On top of that, we've got other Alter Egos working for the alien god as well. We have Tamamovich. Yes, Tamamovich is an Alter Ego class servant. We have Muramasa, also an Alter Ego class servant working under the alien god. And we also have Rasputin. Yes, Rasputin is an Alter Ego class servant working under the alien god, one of the 3 apostles of the alien god. Now, Tamamovich, of course, has loftier dreams than the rest of them, wanting to become a beast herself, but that's not here or there. As it stands, she is an Alter Ego, and we are going to have to fight all of them. Musashi being a main ally of us for a very, very long time, an ally that has ended up showing up exactly when we need her to, much like a certain famous wizard from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Musashi, I think we can pretty much guarantee, is going to show up and help us knock these Alter Egos down and help us save humanity. So there you go. That is the explanation for the Alter Ego class bonus in Musashi's Noble Phantasm. But gang, that leads us to Moon Cancer. Why would we have to fight a Moon Cancer in Cosmos in the Lost Belt? What reason would there be to fight a Moon Cancer in Cosmos in the Lost Belt? And we're gonna get to that reason, but it involves us going through what's likely going to happen at the end of Lost Belt 7 first. Now, a lot of this has to do with what we're going to have to deal with after Lost Belt 7, and what we're going to have to deal with Lost Belt 7 is a result of Beast 7's abilities. Now, in order for Cosmos and the Lost Belt to even happen, Beast 7 had to have the ability to not only rewrite the planet's surface and affix the Lost Belts to them, but also she has to have the ability to isolate not only the Lost Belts, but the entire planet. Otherwise, it would be subject to the Quantum Time Lock. Now, what is the Quantum Time Lock, you might ask? Well, the Quantum Time Lock is a type of universal event that allows for the culling and management of adjacent worlds. Basically, when a world comes far too off the track of proper human history, which Cosmos and the Lost Belt definitely has come off that track, the Quantum Time Lock activates and sort of prunes and isolates that timeline from proper human history and effectively destroys it, effectively keeps it from happening in any capacity. There is absolutely no guarantee everyone. There is no guarantee that after we remove the final Lost Belt from the world, that everything will just immediately change back to normal. There is no guarantee. In fact, knowing how Nasu and team like to put those little hints of despair in their stories, I think we, as a community, can easily infer that once we eliminate that last Lost Belt, we are going to be faced with a barren wasteland of a world. A barren wasteland of a world that should not exist, and therefore automatically becomes a target for pruning through the quantum time lock. Now, of course, Ritsuka and gang do not want their entire timeline to be pruned. They just want to advance back to the correct path of human history. But you might be wondering, how are we gonna be able to do that? How are we gonna be able to make that happen? And gang, the answer lies with BB. Yes, the answer lies with BB, and more specifically, the Moon Cell Automaton. Now, part of what's leading me to believe this is the fact that Seraph has been added as a main interlude. They want people to play Seraph. They need people to play Seraph for some reason related to the story. They wouldn't just randomly release something like that without a specific intention behind it. They didn't release the Kara no Kyokai event as a main interlude. They didn't even release Prison Tower featuring Edmond Dantes as a main interlude. But they did release Seraph. Now, why would they do that? Well, in order to give us an idea of how the Moon Cell in and of itself functions. If you will remember, due to the unfortunate phenomenon, the Kiara of Fate Grand Order's world being one with the Kiara of Fate Extra CCC's world, something that should not have happened, the Moon Cell used its vast stores of magical energy, it's basically infinite stores of magical energy and computational power, to turn BB into a servant and dispatch her into FGO's world, where she was able to interfere and was overall able to correct everything involving Sessyoin Kiara. So the Moon Cell does have the ability to broadcast data, to alter data, and to obtain data, as well as completely rewrite and create existences in these alternate realities that still exist well within the bounds of proper human history. So once per nanosecond, the Moon Cell completely scans the entire Earth and compiles the results of the scan in its database. It acts as a database of the entirety of human history, and it can faithfully simulate all life on Earth and is capable of providing a definite prediction of the future. It also has a massive memory bank capable of recording all of the habits, the history, the ideas, and the souls of humanity. It is basically a giant holy grail that can grant wishes that can affect alternate timelines. So what does this mean that the Moon Cell may have the power to do? This means that the Moon Cell, based on all we know about it laid out in the lore of Fate Extra and the lore of Fate Extra CCC, the Moon Cell would be able to affect, create, and effectively reconstruct the correct human history that we would need to prevent the timeline in Fate Grand Order from being pruned. If history is corrected before the quantum time lock takes place, then the timeline rejoins the main base tree of the correct human history, and everything is fine. So it is safe to assume, everyone, remember, this is all a theory, that with the Moon Cell being something that Ritsuka has knowledge of, with knowledge of Seraph being completely and utterly canon, Ritsuka and crew will make any and all attempts to get to the Moon Cell once they realize this, in order to reconstruct the correct human history. Where are they gonna get the data, you ask? Well, gang, that data is already there. That data is stored in Caldeus. Caldeus represents the world status both in past and future eras. Caldeus, if you want to think about it, is just kind of a mini moon cell. It has the soul of the world as a foundation and basis, and we, gang, we are all part of that world. So the reason Musashi's Noble Phantasm deals extra damage to Moon Cancer class servants is because we, after Lost Belt 7, will be heading to the moon cell and will inevitably have to fight BB because BB is not going to let us just use the moon cell for whatever we want. That's her moon cell. And we are going to use the moon cell to reconstruct the proper human history, make everything fine, and make it so our world doesn't get pruned. You're telling me Musashi erased herself from the throne of heroes in Olympus? That doesn't matter. They're gonna just go ahead and do something with that. Why would you go ahead and update a servant, a character who has been erased from the story of the game? Why would you give her new abilities if there was not a new story-related event where she would have to use those abilities? Because they didn't do it for meta. I promise you they didn't do it for meta. So that's where my head is at. We're going to go with Musashi. We're going to world hop. We're going to head to the moon cell. We're going to fight BB. We are going to use the moon cell to reconstruct the proper human history from before all of the Lost Belt stuff happened. And then everything's going to be hunky-dory. And that is how we are going to end up Cosmos in the Lost Belt. And, you know, gang, maybe they'll find some way to finagle it and bring the cryptors back as well. It's possible. Like, all this bad stuff happened in the Lost Belts, which are not proper human history. Maybe they'll find some way to finagle Shiba so that everything is once again fine and dandy in FGO's main timeline. And that's the theory I got for you, everyone. I would like to thank you for sitting this far and letting me ramble, letting me figure this out. I've had this in my head for about a week now, and it just feels really good to get it all out there in video form. Make sure you go ahead and let me know any of your thoughts on this theory down in the comment section below. Let me know if you think I'm a crackpot. Let me know if you maybe have a different ending to Cosmos in the Lost Belt you think is more likely. Let me know if you personally think there's a different reason for Musashi getting this alter ego and moon cancer damage bonus applied to her Noble Phantasm. And let me know if you think Musashi is coming back, because I think it's really safe to say that Musashi is going to be coming back. She is the main saber, the main face of Fate Grand Order, if I've ever seen one at this point. This is Kawaii50, hoping you have a phenomenal day. Come down, discuss FGO in our Discord. Hit me up on Patreon if you think I'm doing a good job. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Kawaii50. See you in the next one.